Hello everyone, my name is Alexis Cruz and welcome to the first tutorial, I guess. Right? So, let's get started. Woo! Okay, so this is basically going to be the first Solidworks tutorial where I'm going to show you the user interface and just everything, like basically the fundamentals, right? What is Solidworks, right? So Solidworks is a 3D CADing software, computer-aided design. It is the industry leading software. Other alternatives are Fusion 360. Inventor, Maya, Blender, and other stuff like that, right? But SolidWorks comes with a lot of built-in tools. It's been going the longest, and so it's been generally the most developed, and so is the one that engineers use the most, right? But of course, there are some people who still like Fusion 360, but that's a topic for another day, right? So, right, now that you know that, let me show you the basics. So here we have our planes, right? So our planes are basically where we're going to draw stuff, right? So here we have our front plane, which is where we're looking at from the front. Here we have our right plane, right? And here we have our top plane. Whoa, crazy. It is not really, right? And so, oh yeah, by the way, if you want to like alter how you're looking at your model or how you're looking at something, you press the scroll wheel and then you just move it around. Or you can press the space bar and then just select which face you want to look at. So I can look at here, I can look at here by clicking on it, and boom, right? Or you can click on a plane and select normal to. That's basically going to take you to look directly at it. So right plane, boom, looking directly at it. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So this is the feature manager tree. Now what this is basically how we're going to look at all the parts that we're going to make, at all the bodies that we're going to make, at all the sketches, basically everything that we're drawing, we're going to see here. And that's how we're going to be able to edit it, right? So here we have our ribbons, and our ribbons are where we're going to actually find our tools. So this is the sketch ribbon for all your sketch tools. This is the feature ribbon for all your features. I'll explain what features are right now. But for right now, let's just talk about sketches. So right now, I will actually hide all these planes, select one, and select sketch, right? So what is a sketch? So a sketch, I've been talking about it really a lot, but a sketch is basically a drawing, right? It's something that we make, like with closed shapes and stuff like that, that we can then use to make features. And now features are the individual pieces of a model that we make, right? So let me show you, right? So here we have our line. It's our normal line. We can draw one like this, like that, like that. And then if we connect these all together, we make a closed shape, right? And so when a shape is closed, it's highlighted in blue, right, as it is right now. And then once we have a closed shape, then we can use it for a number of features, right, to make a number of 3D shapes. Let me actually show you that right now. So let me go to features, extruded boss base, right? And then boom, we have our first 3D object, right? And so yeah, let me just go back to the sketch. Right, so boom bang badow, right? Uh okay, yeah, so but the line isn't the only sketch tool you have. Like, right, you can like make rectangles, squares, circles, triangles, all that cool junk, right? But like sometimes you need a little more definition. Sometimes you don't want to draw every single line. So that's why SolidWorks has a number of tools. So like right now I have a circle, right? Pretty cool. And you can have different ways of drawing the same shape. So for example, you can either choose from the center and then extrude out, or you can choose by 3 points on the circle's perimeter, like that, right? So let me just select these. If you want to delete something, then you can either click and then move to left click and then move to the left, and that has a green selector. Now a green selector, basically anything it touches is selected. So like right here, it's deleted. Now a blue selector, anything that's covered is deleted. So like right now that's covered, but if we did like this, it's not going to be covered, right? So boom, bang, what's up, right? Okay, so that's our circles, right? Now let me show you a spline. Now think of a spline as basically just a really curvy line, right? And it's defined by a number of points. Like we have a point there, we have a point there, we have a point there, point there, and a point there, right? So basically, the line is constrained by these points. It has to go through each of these points continuously, not any sharp edges, nothing like that, right? And it's going to have to go through each of these. And a smooth curved pattern, right? If I try to do a sharp turn, it'll do its best to make that as smooth as possible, as it is doing right now, right? So yeah, so that's basically a spline, right? A rectangle, here we go, right? And that's one way of drawing a rectangle. Here's another way. Here's another way, right? And then you can go through each of them, right? And if you do need help, then the numbers tell you which point you're starting off with. So like for example, this one, it's called the center rectangle because the first point you're selecting is the center. So like that. And then the second point is one edge of the rectangle, like that. And then here we have an edge rectangle where we're selecting one edge and we're selecting a different edge, right? Boom. Oh yeah, by the way, you can also do Control A to select everything. Control A selects everything, and now delete. Boom. Okay. Now we have arcs. Now think of arcs as like sections of a circle. They're pretty useful when you don't want to draw the full circle or when you want to draw uniform curves. So like for example, like this, and then something like this, right? So I didn't have to make a spline, I could just make two curves. So, boom. And then this is an ellipse. An ellipse is basically, you can think of it as an oval. A more rigid definition would be a cross section of a conic cross section, right? Because it's a cross section of a cone. Crazy, I know, right? But yeah, that's an ellipse. So boom, and then here we have our slot, right? Now most of these I don't actually use, but it's good to know, right? Because I don't use them that often, but in the cases that I do use them, it's nice to know that I have them there, right? So you don't need to memorize all these tools, but you should be aware of their existence, right? For in the case that you would ever have to need them, right? So this is the polygon tool, right? So you select the center of the polygon, and then select that edge, and then you select how many faces you want the polygon to have. So if I wanted to have something like 5 sides, I have a pentagon. 3, I have a triangle. If I wanted to have something like, let's say, 24 sides, that's an icosahedron, right? You see, I memorized that. I probably didn't. That's probably a lie, right? Boom, right, delete. And then finally, the final sketch tool I'll show you is called a fillet, right? Or a fillet, whatever you want to call it. Right, so if I highlight here, sketch fillet, juicy. So there you go. Now, what a fillet does is it basically rounds off an edge. So right now we have that edge there by intersecting lines. We select it, and if we zoom in, you can see, whoa, it's smoothing it out. Now, I can select it, and then boom. And it automatically defines it for you. And you can also come in and then just change that definition. You can just be like, oh, I want it 20. And then it's going to change it to 20, right? So, and that leads me to our next sketch tool. It's called Smart Dimension, right? So when we're defining our sketches, when we're drawing something, we usually want to measure it, right? So the reason why we would want to measure it is because when we measure it and when we give it accurate dimensions, then it's going to stay in the same place. So let me show you what that means, right? So here, let me draw a rectangle, right? Pretty simple. And here, let me dimension this side, right? So now I know that this dimension is going to be like not 6,000, right? Like 10 millimeters, right? Oh, that is small. That is Jesus. Okay, wait, hold up, right? And then boom, 10,000. Yeah, nice, right? Boom, yay. Oh yeah, by the way, you can automatically fix or automatically like adjust your view by pressing F. Yeah, let me just bring that over here. Yeah, by pressing F. That's close enough, whatever. Boom. Okay, right? So, here we have our, oh yeah, by the way, if you want to move without rotating anything, then press Control, then the middle mouse wheel, and then do this, right? Control and the middle mouse wheel. So, let me move these here so you can see it better. Now, let's say I deleted one of these, right? Now, you can see that some things became blue. Now, the stuff in blue, what that actually means is that it's underdefined. And you can see that highlighted here. Now, when something is underdefined, then that means that we can edit it ourselves, manually. We can be like, oh shoot, let me just make this longer, let me just make this, you know what? But when something is black, like these lines right here, we can't edit that. So like for example, since this line is always gonna be 20 millimeters from this line, then we can't make that any different. But since this line and this line have no definition, they have no dimension, then we can't really change it. And then, I mean, then we can change it. And we'll be able to change it until we give it an actual definition or an actual measurement, a smart dimension, right? So boom, like that, 10. And then when everything is all black and you see here fully defined, then everything is fixed in place and you can no longer edit it. And that means that you have fully defined geometry. Now, again, the reason why we strive for fully defined geometry is because as an engineer, we always want to know the dimensions of our design. We always want the machinist to know, the manufacturer, whoever's actually making the part that we're designing, to know the measurements. We want them to be concrete and visible. So for example, right here, let's say I was actually designing this, I was actually manufacturing this, I would know that this is 20 millimeters. The machine would also know it's 20 millimeters, and I would know it's 10 millimeters, and so would the machine, right? So that's why we always want fully defined geometry. Now, now that we got this, well, oh yeah, F. Whoa! You can also just press this, press spacebar and then that. And so yeah, there we have our fully defined rectangle, right? So again, always strive for full definition. And a little shortcut that I'm going to show you right now, if you press right click and move your mouse around, right, like that. Oh shoot, okay. I'm gonna try to hold right click. Okay, right click. Yeah, there we go. If you hold right click and move your mouse around, then you can select one of these tools. Like it's like a quick tool, right? So if I swipe to the right, to the left, I can select a line. If I swipe to the right, I can select a circle, you know, top left, rectangle, and then etc., etc., right? And so, what else? What else? What else? Um, well, okay, I guess I'll go from here, from sketches to actual features, right? So, like I said, features are, they're basically how we're gonna actually make the sketches that we draw into 3D. So, for example, the feature that I used here is called a boss extrude. Now, what that does is, I don't know what the boss stands for, if I'm gonna be honest, right? But what I what I know it does is it extrudes a closed shape from a sketch outward, right? It brings it out into the 3D plane. So we can actually delete that, shoot, just so I can show you it. And then we can select our sketch. We can select extruded boss base, and then it's going to automatically select our sketch and it's going to extrude it. It's going to bring it out. And here we can actually edit how we bring that out. So for example, we can do something like 5 millimeters, 10 millimeters, 20, etc., right? But like right now, 5. Whoa. And then here we can actually edit from where we want to extrude and which direction we want to extrude from, right? So, let's say I wanted to extrude this from an offset, right? So like I wanted to do this not exactly on the plane, but like let's say 20 millimeters in front of it. I can do that. 0, right? Let's say I want to do it on the plane. Now the direction. Let's say I want to do it from the middle of the plane, right? So this is 5 millimeters still, but instead of extruding only on one side, it extrudes 2.5 from the middle, right? So on each side. And then here you can select a specific direction, but that's just a little more advanced. Right now I'm just showing you the basics. And now boss extrude. I'm going to do it with the midplane, right? And so here we have our planes. Yay! And there's a whole bunch of different features that I'm going to show you. But for right now, I think I'm going to end the video here. I've shown you the basics sketch tools. I've shown you the basic feature ribbon, the basic sketch tools, like I said, the feature manager tree, and the display on how you look at your model, right? So you can press spacebar, look around at it, and yeah, I guess I'm gonna end this here. This was just a really quick one, just to see how things are going, just to see if recording is any better, right? So yeah, thank you for watching.